Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we continue our stacked week of wrestling pay-per-views on the weekend, and this time we're in NXT BattleGround. Once again, pretty solid card with a few matches that can definitely be some match of the year contenders, and some that can, steal a show on the night. But how we feeling?
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty good matches on here. I'm actually surprised by the build to a lot of these matches have been really good, and I've enjoyed a lot of them. So yeah, we're gonna get into them.
Let's kick things off with the men's world champion Obafemi, who takes on Miles Bourne. Might be surprising for some, but he is here. And who do you got winning?
Yeah, it's definitely a surprising winner of that battle royal that they had on NXT recently. Definitely didn't expect him to win. I think a lot of people were kind of pulling for Javon to kind of get the opportunity to go one-on-one with Oba. However, it was Miles Bourne, and he's been pretty impressive since then. He's cut some really good promos. He's always been decent in ring. So yeah, it's kind of time to put him on a big stage, let him sink or swim versus the world champion, and we'll see how we can kind of handle that. But I will go with Obafemi here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Obafemi as well. I think this is obviously going to be mostly Oba, destroying Miles Bourne, with hopefully him trying to fight back a little bit, get a little bit of offense in, but ultimately Obafemi just too good, and Miles Bourne falls short. But I do think this is kind of, like you said, a big star-making moment for him, whether he can sink or swim. So yeah, should be a pretty fun match. I do think he's pretty good, so I do think they can hold together and put on a good performance. Next up, though, we have the Women's North American Championship on the line, where Sol Ruca puts it on the former Women's North American Champion, Kalani Jordan. Who do you got?
Yeah, the current versus the first, and yeah, this is going to be a really good match. It's been built over the past few weeks. We've seen Kalani go against Zarya a few times. We've seen the backstage segments between her and Sol Ruca as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm kind of looking forward to in a way. I think there could be potential for Zarya to be involved in this match and maybe cost Sol Ruca the match. We've seen a little bit of tension being built between them. Maybe they'll save that for something else in the future. But I do think we'll see her involvement in some kind of way. But I do think Sol Ruca comes out on top. I think everyone's loving all of her in-ring work right now. Her promos have been great. She's doing a lot of social media posts as well. So I think Sol Ruca is still a good option going forward to keep the belt on.
Yeah, I'm going to have her to retain as well. I do think, like you said, she's probably going to hold it for a little while longer. Kalani is somebody who, it's kind of in a weird spot where they want to turn her heel, but I don't think the crowd wants her to turn heel yet. Plus, I think she's somebody who could be called up through the draft. Obviously, she's still fairly young, so it wouldn't be surprising if she does stay in NXT. But if she were to come up, I think it's perfectly fine if she's ready to, hang with some of those big dogs, because she is just that good. But yeah, I'm going to go with Sol Ruca. It should be a pretty fun match. Their last match, I think, was sometime last year, I believe, which was also really good. So hopefully we kind of get a big part 2 to that. But yeah, it should be pretty fun. Next up, though, we have the TNA World Championship on the line, where Joe Hendry takes on Trick Williams. Who do you got walking out with the TNA World Champion?
I am going to go with Trick Williams. I think eventually we are going to get that moment where a title does get pushed over to the other side. And unfortunately, it probably will be the TNA title coming to the WWE side and not the vice versa. And I do think Trick is a good opponent to lose to or to beat Joe Hendry. He has been showing up a lot on TNA, so I would believe that if he were to win it, he would still be showing up on TNA relatively, pretty much every week. So I think it would be a fun thing to happen. It would be a big thing for someone else to come and take it back, and be a big star-making moment potentially for whoever does eventually beat Trick for it. So I will go with Trick Williams here to make a big surprising win here.
Yeah, this one I am torn between, because I can, like you said, see both sides of it. I think I am going to go with Joe Hendry to retain, but Trick Williams winning, I think, is probably the better option, honestly, for Trick Williams at least, because they want to keep him as a top guy on NXT right now, and we still got a few more weeks or months, rather, to the draft, so you kind of can't call him up just yet. So him going to TNA, holding that belt for maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or two until the draft, I think that's fine for him, just because there's guys that he hasn't faced yet who can use a big star match like Trick Williams, who can just show their face on a WWE audience. So I think Trick Williams has a good chance here. Wouldn't be surprised if he wins, but I think Joe Hendry gets the job done, and yeah, should be pretty solid. Hopefully doesn't drag for too long.
Yeah, hopefully, we see Trick Williams take the win here for me, and then maybe like a Mike Santana could come and take it from Trick, or basically whoever you want to be that next guy in TNA after Joe Hendry.
No. And then next up, we have a 6-man tag match with Hank and Tank teaming up with Josh Brooks to take on Brooks Jensen, Nico Vance, and Sean Spears with a new faction called The Culling. Who do you got walking out with the dub?
This one I think you could kind of go either way if you're really trying to build something with this new faction with Sean Spears and them. I think you give them the win. However, Hank and Tank are your tag team champions right now, so I will be going with them.
Yeah, I don't really know what the goal or what the long-term plan here is. So I think I am going to go Hank and Tank. Actually, I'm going to go with The Culling. I think they might get the win here to get them a tag title shot at Hank and Tank at a future pay-per-view. But yeah, I really don't know what to expect from this match. It could be pretty solid. We know Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen have that history with one another, so maybe we see some tension between them two, and maybe they start the match with each other. But yeah, it should be a pretty solid match. Hopefully this is like 6 guys who just want to steal the show, maybe. Could see that out of Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs. So yeah, should be a solid match, but I really don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Next up, though, we have Tony D'Angelo finally taking on Stax Lorenzo. Who do you got, though?
Yeah, this is. I'm a little disappointed from this match in a way because I do wish that they had a stipulation on. This is definitely like a big blood feud where a lot of people were taken out in the making of this match. So I think it definitely deserves to be a stipulation match in some way. Maybe we see all those characters that were taken out come back as new characters as part of a new faction with Stax or something. I don't know what exactly is going to happen here, but I do expect some kind of shenanigans to be a part of this match, or maybe they return to help Tom. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do think that likely Channing Stax Lorenzo will come out on top on this one.
Yeah, this one, considering it's a non-stipulation, I feel like this means it's not the end of what's going to happen between these two. I think maybe the next pay-per-view we get another match between the two that is a stipulation, but ultimately I think it might end on the third match, maybe like a loser leaves NXT. We haven't seen that stipulation in quite a while, so I think Tony D maybe gets the win here or takes the L just so he can eventually leave NXT and finally get called up to the main roster more than likely. But yeah, this should be pretty fun. I think this is another match that could, maybe steal the show. They're not projected to have the best match on the night, but on the night could also, put on a banger.
For sure.
And then let's wrap things up with the women's NXT Women's Championship. Stephanie Vaquer take on Jordynne Grace. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be your best match of the night. This is a match that I'm really excited for. Stephanie Vaquer is quickly going up my list of some of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and as well as Jordynne Grace, she was already on that list. So yeah, I think this will be an amazing match. I'm not 100% sure who I really want to take here because I do think Jordan winning the title would be amazing for her, but I don't know if I want the Stephanie reign to end because she's been awesome, and the more Stephanie we get on TV, the better. However, if we can't get her on that main roster even sooner, I think the right direction is to drop it to Jordan. So I will go Jordynne Grace defeating Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah, this one, like you said, I can kind of see it going both ways. However, I will go with Stephanie Vaquer to retain. I feel like she just deserves to hold it a little bit longer. I feel like they're not going to call her up to main roster this year, or at least not right now. So maybe she just holds it for a little while longer and has become, one of the most dominant NXT Women's Champions. But yeah, I think if Jordan were to win, I'm not mad at it by any means. I think she could have gone to have a great run. So yeah, this is obviously an interesting dynamic because they're both baby faces, and then they're kind of friends in a way, I guess. They have teamed up in the past, I believe. So yeah, it should be interesting to what they can do in ring.
Yeah, for sure.
What match are you looking most forward to, though, on the night?
Probably Joe Henry and Trick, honestly, because I think that could be really cool. I've been watching a lot more TNA recently, so I think the TNA title being on Trick could be interesting, and it'll make my TNA viewing experience a little bit better, potentially. But I do really like Joe Henry, so even if he is retaining here, I wouldn't be too mad.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know your predictions down in the comments below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.